With each passing day, we are getting closer to ecological catastrophe, and in the near future, we may face the problem of mass diseases, hunger, and other consequences of negligent attitude towards the environment. The modern world is on the verge of soil resources depletion, but thanks to Anatoli Eduardovich Unitsky, the author and creator of the technology of production of Uterra biohumus and Uterra soil elixir, the solution has been found. Uterra biohumus is a natural organic soil additive containing a full complex of vitamins, minerals, as well as macro and micro elements necessary for the growth and development of plants. Uterra soil elixir is a biologically active fertilizer for plants, containing soluble salts of humic acids, fulvic acids, humic acid, and the whole range of agronomically valuable microorganisms with their high concentration. Uterra products increase yields and quality of agricultural products, accelerate plant growth and development, restore and maintain soil fertility, and protects plants from diseases and pests.
I started thinking about creating Uterra while I was still a student. It was more than 50 years ago when I dreamed that we would master space and bring industry, factories, and power stations there. And people will also live on manned stations because this industry needs to be serviced. Therefore, it is necessary to create more comfortable living conditions for people in space than on Earth. The conditions there should be the same as, for example, in the subtropics. It is a comfortable temperature, clean air saturated with the smell of flowers, clean water, soil on which plants grow, gardens, and food for those who live there. So I started working out the design of space settlements. They look like a cylinder or a ball spinning around its axis. Centrifugal forces are generated in it. You can put a layer of soil inside, plant gardens on it, and live in that environment. Human is an Earth product. They have been living for 4 billion years under Earth conditions. And then I wondered, what kind of soil would such a space settlement should have? It should not be the one that is killed now on the planet by mineral fertilizers, pesticides, poisonous chemicals. I am not an agronomist, nevertheless, I cared about how plants, animals grow, which is the basis of life, the basis of fertility, the soil. And I realized that biohumus is the basis of soil fertility and basic nutrition for plants. And a plant is a multicellular creature, multicellular life. And the cell is the former simplest organism that once appeared in the ocean and took from there the whole Mendeleev's table, which is more than 80 chemical elements. And I realized that they must all be in the soil because all living organisms are made up of cells, and the cell is the basis of life. Mankind over thousands of years of existence has created engineering technology, created the industry we see. If you take what mankind has created over thousands of years of existence, the totality, all the industrial and engineering power, and compare it to a cell, the cell will be billions of times more complex than all this industry that mankind has created. And so the one who created this life was an engineer, because it's a unique engineering structure, and I approached it as an engineer. Over the last hundreds of years, when chemistry was intensively used and fields were plowed to a depth of almost half a meter, taking out the entire table of Mendeleev every year, the composition of soils has deteriorated 100 times. What does that say? 100 years ago, I should eat 1 apple to get the micronutrients I needed. Now we should eat a bucket of apples. So I began to realize that all of this had to change. It was all wrong. A few years ago at one of the first eco-fests, I said, "We have hundreds of thousands of investors from 222 countries and regions living on the 5 continents of the planet. Find a piece of clean, untouched land and bring 2 or 3 kilograms of such soil to Marina Gorka in Belarus. Now, such soil has already been brought from 110 regions of the world, from all 5 continents of the planet, practically from all countries of the world. So I created a soil bank in Marina Gorka, where I collected the entire biosphere diversity of soil protozoaras. I realized that humus, without them, won't become humus. It will be dead. And on this soil, with our humus, healthy, eco-friendly, and organic food will grow, such as it was hundreds of millions of years ago. The second important component of Uterra is useful soil microorganisms, which I collected at the Unitsky peasant farm in Marina Gorka. Here we know how to select them, how to breed them, how to regenerate them, and how to then introduce them into Uterra. Therefore, Uterra is a complex biosphere product. It's not something invented by me, it's something that has always been in nature. I just realized how it all happened and reconstructed all these processes. We have a station combined with an anchor support, and there's a room down there that's not really suitable for growing plants. There's not enough light. It's the wrong temperature. Nobody takes much care of those plants there. And then I thought, let's run an experiment here. We made 4 boxes, poured desert sand into them, and added 1% crumbly biohumus. It's nothing at all. What is 1%? For 10 kilos of sand, 100 grams of crumbly Uterra. All 4 boxes are the same. Lighting conditions are the same. Temperature is the same. And decided to compare with competitors. There are many different biofertilizers sold here in Dubai that are advertised as the best biofertilizers in the world. We took cherry tomato seeds and planted 5 seeds in each box under the same conditions. We added products from one competitor, a second, a third one, and our biohumus to the boxes. И стали поливать потом не водой, а раствором биогумуса жидкого. And began to water with a solution of liquid biohumus in that proportion, as recommended by the manufacturers. And what's the interesting thing? In the first box, not a single seed sprouted of 5 seeds. In the second box, 3 seeds sprouted, but they were somewhat weak, sick. In the third box, something stronger grew, but it was still sick too. And with Uterra, there are already huge bushes growing. In those conditions where there is no light, where the temperature is wrong, where no one looks after them, where all are in the same conditions. Not a single flower has set on any tomato that we fertilize with our competitors' products. And ours were full of flowers and fruit. We've already eaten a few dozen of them. And everything continues to bloom and grow there, in the conditions that are not suitable for growing tomatoes at all.
На всех 3 образцах. На первом тем более там не было ни одного еще ростка, да? И, естественно, какие томаты, какие плоды. А у нас все усыпано цветами и плодами, помидорами, черри. Мы уже уже съели несколько десятков штук. Очень вкусно. Такой вкус насыщенный, да? И там продолжают цвести, продолжают расти. В условиях, которые, ну, не приспособлены для выращивания. Вот, пожалуйста, те эксперименты. На песке фактически. Поэтому я давно говорю, что мы знаем, как превратить любую пустыню в сад. От 1%.
That's why I've long been saying that we know how to turn any desert into a garden. Apply a 1% layer of Uterra to the sand, and then, with the help of the liquid elixir, fertilize, water, and the garden will grow. That is why we are already building in the Emirates the first plant for the Uterra production for 10,000 tons of elixir per year. That's a lot. That's 10 million bottles. There should be thousands of such plants on the planet. Each country should have more than one such plant. Why carry the elixir far? We should use it on site. There are raw materials here. Raw materials are brown coal, oil shale. The raw material is grass, manure. The raw material is sawdust. Any organic matter, even shredded paper, is also a raw material, or household rubbish. It's also organic matter, it's also a raw material. And then we can convert all that organic and inorganic matter into humus too. And raise the fertility of the whole planet, the whole landmass. We will produce so much humus that not only planet Earth, but also the entire solar system will be fertile if necessary.
It is impossible for a company to enter the international market without a team of professionals. Realizing how competitive the market is, it is important to present a quality product ready to meet the needs of millions of people around the world. The name Uterra did not arise by chance. It has a whole philosophy, global message and mission behind it, which we adhere to when creating soil elixir and biohumus, which have no analogues in the world. The marketing strategy is built taking into account the specifics of the market and the real existing demand. Denis Volozhin, brand manager of the Uterra project, together with his team, carefully worked out every step of our entry into the global organic fertilizer market, from creating a logo and corporate style to global market analysis and stand out in the competitive environment. Only a proven and high-quality product that has proven its effectiveness in real conditions can occupy a leading position among hundreds of analogues of organic fertilizers and soil fertilizers for a long time. Over the past few years, scientists and lab technicians have been recording the results of studies carried out in a special laboratory and in the greenhouse, allowing for a comprehensive evaluation of the effectiveness of Uterra products. Experiments have produced yields that are 1/3 higher than the average ones.
Hello, my name is Jean. I would like to tell you about an experiment we did with Uterra liquid elixir. We carried it out to see how it could even be utilized in a desert environment and in an environment with the different competitors that are in the market in Dubai. What did we do? Took exactly equal amounts of cherry tomato seeds. All seeds were planted under completely equal conditions. The containers were filled with sand with 1 to 2% of crumbly biohumus. This was not a scientific experiment. We set it up purely for ourselves to see what we would get as a result. And here's what we've got. In the container where the seeds were planted and where we added the Uterra, 100% germination, the results exceeded our expectations. The experiment has begun on the 20th of July. Спустя 4 месяца, 20 ноября, мы сняли первые плоды красные томаты черри. То есть в отчете у меня это все есть промежуточные фотографии. And 4 months later, on the 20th of November, we took the first fruits, red cherry tomatoes. There is also a report with intermediate pictures, and everything is recorded at every stage of the growth of the tomatoes. So what we've got from the competitors. Второй конкурент, как вы видите, из 6 погиб. Вот последний, вот все, он погибает. Из 6 семян. Третий конкурент на текущий момент, вот сегодня у нас уже декабрь, но нет ни одного цветка. И выжило вот... One of the competitors did not have a single seed sprouted at the initial stage. The second competitor had everything dead. The third competitor had only 2 plants surviving, but they didn't have a single flower. На текущий момент висят красные, есть свежие плоды зеленые, и имеются новые цветы, то есть, соответственно, мы ожидаем еще больше урожая. Мы хотели данным экспериментом убедиться, что... In Uterra, containers red fruit are hanging. There are fresh green fruit. There are new flowers, meaning we are expecting an even bigger harvest. With this experiment, we wanted to see if our Uterra elixir works in sandy desert conditions to compare it with competitors on the market. Мы убедились, что в условиях песка могут вырасти плоды, они могут созреть. And we have seen that fruit can grow and ripen in sandy conditions. We tasted them. They are quite sweet, so we are very happy with the result.
The tests take place in Mariina Gorka, in the Republic of Belarus, on the territory of the Unitsky peasant farm. It is here that plants and horticultural crops are grown in an experimental mode using Uterra soil elixir. Whether it's a closed laboratory where soil samples are collected from 110 regions of the globe, or a greenhouse simulating different climatic conditions, Uterra production technology demonstrates the richness of flavor of the plants all year round. Juicy fruit, ripe vegetables, and fruits full of vitamins.
Yes, sect. The tests take place in Mariina Gorka in the Republic of Belarus, on the territory of the Unitsky peasant farm. It is here that plants and horticultural crops are grown in an experimental mode using Uterra soil elixir. Alexander, what's going on here now?
Now, here is the process of feeding the worm takes place. We put a new layer of substrate, which will later be used to make Uterra biohumus.
Speaking of the worm's feeding, what is the composition of that feeding?
I cannot say anything about the composition of the substrate and the nutritional components of the worm because it is a trade secret of the product.
Without revealing trade secrets, what is the uniqueness of Uterra biohumus?
The uniqueness of Uterra biohumus lies in its 3 components. The first component is the unique composition of the substrate from which biohumus is then obtained. The second one is the collection of microorganisms that is collected in this biohumus and to which is added a collection of microorganisms from the soil bank located at the Unitsky peasant farm. It is also unique in that we have a unique breed of worm.
Speaking of the unique breed of worm, how did you manage to breed it?
Our breed of worm was developed by selection through selecting the substrate, through selecting microbiological component, through selecting conditions. Combining these parameters, we obtained a unique breed of worm that is different from the original one, and this breed productively consumes our unique substrate, which results in a really good product.
And the name of this worm?
We call it Lumbricus juteris.
Can you please tell me how many worms are in here?
We have a minimum of 50,000 worms on 1 square meter.
Alexander, tell me, is there any work being carried out to improve biohumus?
Yes, work is being done to harmonize all the parameters of biohumus, and work is also being done on its composition. We optimize the composition by adding organic produce, obtained naturally. We add unique and quite rare microelements to the final product, which are not available in our product analogs.
Alexander, thank you for the interesting story and good luck with your work.
Thank you.
I am in the biolaboratory of String Technologies Closed Joint Stock Company, where Uterra products are being developed on behalf of the Unitsky peasant farm. And now I'm going to talk to the head of the laboratory, Nikifor Zil. I would like to talk about a product you created, the Uterra fertility elixir. It is now mass-produced by the Unitsky peasant farm. Say, Nikifor, how long have you been developing it?
The idea of this product was developed by Anatoli Eduardovich Unitsky for more than 40 years, because that is how long he has been engaged in research in the field of soil fertility improvement, eco-friendly agriculture and farming. We started developing this product in the year 2021. Already in April of the year 2022, we were able to start producing it because we had a good scientific and research base for it.
I see. Nikifor, when you were approached by the Unitsky peasant farm, it set certain parameters for you. Did you manage to satisfy all of them?
When we were approached by a peasant farm, we worked with them to finalize the terms of reference because they had a vision of the conceptual direction and product quality requirements, while we had our own vision of an environmentally friendly product. Together, we have realized that the microelement composition of soils has deteriorated significantly in recent times. The three nutrient elements applied to the soil are mainly nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And such important microelements and ultra-microelements that we use in the Uterra product are not added, so the plants do not contain the full list of essential nutrients. In addition, in the long term, soil fertility is declining. The number of humus is falling. And the active use of mineral fertilizers and pesticides reduces soil fertility, decreases the number of microorganisms, and lowers the percentage of humus in the soil. And to get the same yield, you have to apply more and more of these fertilizers. The peasant farm has made a technical specification for such a product that will address these issues to improve soil fertility, minimize pathogens, and ensure that plants are maximally microelements rich.
С крестьянско-фермерским хозяйством мы определились, и они сделали техническое задание на продукт, который...
So that the produce that is grown on our organic fertilizers was from the farm, but still maintained high-yielding conditions. Those were the requirements, and we fulfilled them. Oh, yes, that's exactly true.
То есть для интенсификации процессов гумификации, для того, чтобы в почве минимизировать содержание патогенных микроорганизмов и сделать растения насыщенными максимально микроэлементами, ультрамикроэлементами, но не превышая ПДК, конечно, и обеспечить необходимый нутриентный состав, чтобы продукция, которая выращивается на наших органических удобрениях, чтобы она была фермерской и при этом сохранялось условие, конечно, высокой урожайности. Такие были требования, и да, мы их выполнили.
Will the products you have created live up to their name? Fertility elixir?
Эликсир плодородия. Да, это именно так.
And now we will talk about the quality of Uterra fertility elixir with Ivan Nalatov, head of the Biotechnology Bureau. Hello, Ivan.
Hi.
Ivan, I know that you are a postgraduate student of agricultural sciences at the Belarusian State Agricultural Academy.
Yes, I am.
We're going to talk now about the Uterra project. What processes are you involved in?
First of all, I evaluate the complex effect of Uterra preparation on physiological and biochemical processes occurring inside plants.
You've already created the Uterra fertility elixir. What are the indicators it affects?
First of all, on the processes of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis itself triggers various other processes, which allows the plant to accumulate more tissue, fruit, sugars, and so on. But that's not the most important thing about this process. The fact is that Uterra unique complex includes macro, micro, and ultra-micro elements that are only found in Uterra.
I see. These were internal processes. And how can you externally determine that the Uterra is working?
Let's look at this experiment here. Here are the complexes of various applications of Uterra and the negative control, to which we add nothing at all. So you can see at a glance how things are changing. First of all, Uterra influences flower setting and accelerates the fruiting process itself. If we look at the control, then there's nothing here yet. There's only one flower trying to set. And here, Uterra has already allowed the first fruits to form.
I see. So, what is the uniqueness of this product?
Most of the world's biotech companies use up to 100 different species of bacteria. When they make their product, they use 6 to 7 types of bacteria. Uterra elixir includes thousands of different species of bacteria that we contribute from the Unitsky World Soil Bank. And this bank is filled with soils from all over the world. The most interesting thing is that we have different samples collected, but the most important factor in this case is that the soil should not be anthropogenically influenced. That is, it must not have been affected by humans. Now you see North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Eurasia, Europe, all participating in the creation of the bank.
Северную, Южную Америку, Африка, непосредственно Азия, Евразия, Европа.
The microorganisms used to produce Uterra are unique. Not only do they allow soil fertility to be restored, but they also add different flavors to the produce itself.
Yeah, Ivan, while working on this project, have you met any analogs like this product in the world?
We have not come across a similar product, which makes Uterra product unique. There is no analog.
Thank you, Ivan, for an interesting story. And now we're going to talk to a biochemist at this lab about the Uterra project. Good afternoon, Vera.
Good afternoon, Dennis.
Vera, as a Master of Biological Sciences and biochemist, I'm going to ask you some questions about the Uterra project. What processes are you involved in here?
I am investigating the effects of Uterra on plant metabolic pathways and on the content of secondary metabolites in fruits and plant tissues.
In simpler terms, what do your experiments focus on?
My work aims to increase the content of vitamins and biologically active substances in fruits.
And what's the purpose of that?
This is necessary to increase the nutritional value of plant-based products. The ultimate goal of my work on all Uterra products is to obtain a natural products for the good health of people.
Quite noble. What results have you achieved in your work?
In recent experiments, we have been able to achieve an increase in vitamin C content of tree fruits, as well as an increase in the protein content of cereal crop structures. It allowed us to get a higher quality flour.
So the use of Uterra improves people's health?
Yes.
That's great. Vera, thank you for your answers. Thanks.
The construction of an entire biosphere greenhouse complex has now been launched, comprising a main building, plant, greenhouse cluster, laboratory, and associated infrastructure in the Rakiz Ras El Khaimah Free Economic Zone in the United Arab Emirates. The Uterra project has the potential to take organic farming to a whole new level with improved performance. The use of exclusively natural components as raw materials and the presence of a full range of valuable microorganisms in the composition of Uterra products make Uterra soil elixir and Uterra biohumus indispensable helpers in farming, personal and agricultural sector and gardening. Millions of hectares of earth could be saved from destruction, drought and soil erosion. They can be restored and preserved, providing an endless source of vitamins and minerals that our bodies are sorely lacking. Together we are capable of implementing this project by taking an important step towards greening planet Earth right now. Join the Uterra project. Become part of a bright and eco-friendly future.